Hello, welcome back to another vinyl show and tell. Hope everyone's doing alright. What's been going on with everyone? We've been braving some very stormy weather here in the UK, but the sun is out today. It's lighting up the man cave, so I thought I'd do some filming in here for a change. It's been a while since I've been in here and filmed a video. So today's video is just what I've been listening to over the weekend. I had a good old listening session. Didn't go out anywhere, didn't do much. So thought I'd just chat about what I spun. Quite an eclectic lot, well I think it is anyway. So without further ado, let's push on. Let's show what I played. So first of all, we'll start with the prog album. It wouldn't be a listening session by me if there wasn't a bit of prog in there. This one is the third album by Jonesy. This is from 1970, is it 73? We'll have a look at the label in a minute. I think it's 73. It's their third album and it's called Growing. This is an original UK press on Dawn Records. So as far as prog goes, this is quite a mixed bag really. They get quite funky on this record. And there's a bit of symphonic, a bit of jazz, it's a bit of everything really. It's very, very good. I have talked about Jonesy before in previous videos, or a previous video. Their first album, No Alternative, is an absolute firm favourite of mine. It's a killer record. And I talked about it on my top 10 obscure prog albums. But this is still very, very good indeed. It really is good. If you're a fan of prog, then it's well worth getting hold of the Jonesy albums. They did 3, although there is a 4th one out there. I think it was unreleased at the time and released much, much later. So, as I say, yeah, this is a UK original press on Dawn. It is 1973, as I thought, with the lovely Sunrise labels. It's not hugely scarce. It is a bit scarce, but it's not massively expensive. You could pick it up for £40 or £50, but I do believe they have been, this and the other albums by them have been reissued as well. So if you do like your prog, this is definitely one to look out for. Jonesy, that's Growing. Right, next we have got second album by Gang of Four. It's called Solid Gold. Gang of Four here on the vinyl community, I've heard them shown, I've heard them talked about quite a bit. I don't recall this particular album being chatted about. The one that seems to get the recognition, and I would say recognition across the board, is their debut called Entertainment. This one, it kind of it's not dissimilar to Entertainment really, the debut. It sounds the same, it's just a little bit more polish on it, and it sounds like they've really kind of slowed the tempo down on it a little bit. It's not quite as aggressive sounding or punky. I mean, it's very much a punk. They're a post-punk band, and this is a post-punk record. But they've still got the real kind of, you know, that very unmistakable Gang of Four sound. The kind of, all the instruments, they kind of interweave with each other. It's really interesting how they do it. Quite clever in a way. I actually picked this one up before I got hold of Entertainment. It was many years ago, back when I used to bid on eBay. I used to do eBay auctions. I got this for just 99 pence. I was the only, it was the opening bid. I was the only bidder. I mean, imagine that happening now, getting a Gang of Four record for 99p. It seems absolutely absurd, really, doesn't it? To be fair, I think I actually might prefer this to Entertainment. It might be a bit of a controversial thing to say, but I don't know. It's just a bit more pleasing to my ear. But if you like the first album and you haven't got this, this is really, really worth checking out. As I say, it might not be as much of an appeal, but I think it is. It's a solid record. It's great. I think it's very underrated. So yeah, be interested to hear your thoughts on this one. This and Entertainment are the only two Gang of Four I've actually got. I've never ventured. I know they did do others in the early 80s, but I've never ventured any further. I don't know whether I should or not. Maybe I should give them a listen. Who knows? We'll see if they turn up. But this one does come highly recommended. Second album, Solid Gold, Gang of Four. I don't think it's terribly rare or expensive to find. So yeah, grab yourself a copy if you can. Very good. Okay. Right. The second album here by CCS. This is it was the only second time I spun this one after a relatively recent purchase. Yeah, it's very, very good. Very, very good indeed. Well known for doing the kind of jazzy orchestral version of Led Zeppelin's Whole Lotta Love, which then featured as the theme music to Top of the Pops back in the early 70s, from what I gather. Was before my time, but obviously I've seen clips of this. I'm well aware of what was going on. But this is very, very similar. You know, they stick to their formula. It's you can see them all on the back there. It's a big band led by Alexis Corner. Lots and lots of brass. A really, really big sound. But it's great. It's kind of heavy, funky, really quite in your face. It's a very loud cut, this record. So it really just bursts out of your speakers and kind of smacks you around the face. But yeah, there's a few originals, quite a few covers on this one. It's a very enjoyable listen, and one I will listen to again. So yeah, this is their second self-titled record. I believe their first album was also just called CCS as well. But this really, I do see this quite a lot. This is about a £10 record. If you want a good copy, 10 quid. I've seen it in the wild many times at fairs or in shops. So if you fancy chancing on a copy, you should find one quite easily. And this is a UK original pressing on rack. Very good. Right, so the one and only, got to include something from this century, haven't we? There we go. This is self-titled album by Timber Timber. It's on the Full Time Hobby label. It's from 2010. So in my head, this is a really up-to-date and recent album, but it's 13 years old, so it's not that recent. But anything released this century in my head is recent. You can tell, judging by what I listen to on the whole. This is really, really nice. It's the only album I've got by them. I've looked up their discography, or I did look it up over the weekend, and they've done quite a few actually, and I really think I might have to get a few more, because this is very, very nice. It's kind of like a laid-back, folky album. I'd say, maybe, could you call it folktronica? I think that is a kind of that is a pigeonhole that is used, but yeah, it's very, very mellow, quite dark in places, and it's got a kind of country-ish feel, like it's like kind of Americana. It's, yeah, quite unique, very, very, yeah, very, very interesting. Perfect thing to listen to with the lights dimmed and the candles lit. It's very much that kind of feel. It is, you know, it's a real chill out record. Look at that cover though. That's a scary cover, isn't it? It's really dark and forbidding. That I don't quite know what's going on there. I've kept the hype sticker on, and it actually kind of sort of takes away from it a little bit, doesn't it? But yeah, I've checked. Yeah, I doubt you'd find this in the wild now. I think it is deleted, but it's still on Discogs. Lots of copies for sale on Discogs. It's not pricey. And I think there are later issues of this as well. I think that the label Full Time Hobby sort of, you know, they repackage these things with coloured vinyl and stuff like that. So, well worth checking out. I certainly feel I'm going to get some more by this band. See what's out there. Right, next up. Oh, this is a lovely album. I've always enjoyed this one. It's an obscure one. It's on the Harvest label. For those of the regular viewers of this channel, you know that I love the Harvest label. EMI's prog and psych subsidiary from the 70s. This is a one and done by formerly Fat Harry. And it's so overlooked, because some of those releases on Harvest, you know, they're rare, but they've got a real cult following. You know, they're highly prized, and they get sort of, you know, reissued and talked about. But this one, to my mind, is very, very overlooked, and took me years to find a copy. It wasn't really one that I was ever really searching for, to be honest with you. And then a copy turned up about 8 or 9 years ago at a record fair, and I snapped it up. It's released in 1971. The band themselves, there they are in all their finery on the back cover. I think they were mainly an American band, to be fair. Indeed, the bass guitarist, bass player, whatever, Bruce Barthol, was in Country Joe and the Fish in the late 60s. But yeah, from what I gather, mostly an American band, but they were based here in London. Hence the sign up to Black Hill Enterprises and signing up with Harvest. Music wise, it's a lovely record. Again, very, very laid back. It's kind of bluesy country. I think you're kind of Neil Young's finest moments from the early to mid 70s. You know, things like Harvest, On the Beach, similar tracks like that, but without his kind of unique vocals. Very, very dark lyrics. Track 2 was called My Friend Was a Pusher, and it tells the story about their friend who, it sounds like, died in tragic circumstances in the bathtub. Strange track, but the whole record is excellent. It's a criminally overlooked record from the early 70s and of the whole sort of, the Harvest label. It's not mega dear, mega expensive, but I don't see it around that much. It was released on Capitol in the US, and I think it's actually had a recent reissue, so it's not too, it's obtainable, but from my point of view, it is thoroughly recommended. If you like your kind of bluesy, folky, country-ish sound from the early 70s, it's without a doubt one to pick up. Really, really nice, really good. Okay, next up, I don't know if I really need to say too much about this one. Fairport Convention's Legion Leaf. From what I gather, it's not from what I gather, it's a seminal folk rock album from 1969. I've heard some people say it is the folk rock album from the golden era. Sandy Denny was on this one. I think it was her last one before she left. I know she did rejoin briefly at a later stage before having a solo career and then tragically leaving this world. But I've not given this record enough attention, and I was watching a programme a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember what programme it was on, but I heard the opening track, Come All Ye, and I was like, yeah, I remember this. I haven't played this for a long old time. And yeah, it's great. I really enjoyed it. I've got a few by Fairport. I'm not a huge Fairport fan, but I think I need to delve into the records that I've got as a result of playing this. In case the nerdy viewers are wondering, yeah, it's a lovely original Pink Island. Not a bad copy, not far from near mint. A few little marks on it, but plays well, sounds great. It's easily obtainable. It's probably never been out of catalogue, this one, on vinyl, to be honest with you. But I can't really say too much more about it. Legion Leaf. Okay, next. I'll save these two till last because I've got plenty to say about them. So here we have Ruts with The Crack from 1979. Original UK Virgin Press. Before I start, I have to give a bit of a shout out on this one. Because this was talked about a week or two ago by PC31, Vinyl Policeman Mike. He did a video about illustrated covers. It was on a thread. And he talked about this cover and quite a few famous faces in it. And I'd really never spotted it before. And, studying it, yeah, there are quite a lot. But they're just not that obvious at all. But, anyway, Mike, if you're watching, thank you very much. I saw this and on your video, and I thought I've got to dig it out and play it. So you have inadvertently inspired my weekend's listening. So thank you very much for that. Anyway, this album, oh God, it's absolutely amazing. I've always loved it. I've always been familiar with it. It's been played a great deal, but when I spun this on Saturday evening, it just knocked my socks off. Absolutely knocked me for six. It really did. The music on it is so hard and heavy. I mean, they're a punk band. They are very much a punk band. It's from 1979. They're probably what I'd call like a second generation of punks around that time. Obviously, you had, you know, the Pistols, Clash, Damned from 76, 77. The originals in the UK anyway. And then you kind of had this second wave of punk with this lot. I suppose Stiff Little Fingers would be another example, and a few others. My point being, yes, they're a punk band, but they really kind of venture into heavy rock and hard rock. I mean, the guitar playing on this is so ferocious. I mean, and the musicianship is so above average for this sort of band. They're on absolute fire. And yeah, just listening to it, it could almost be mistaken for a hard rock record. The guitar playing is just, there's just soloing, shredding going on, heavy riffing, but it's just got that punk attitude as well. The speed of the music, the political sort of lyrics, the fact that it's got a bit of sort of reggae and dub in there. It's a stellar album. It's absolutely fantastic. And do you know what? It sounds better than ever. Better than ever. I've known it for a long time, but yeah, I enjoyed this one so much. And yeah, if you haven't got it, if you're a fan of punk or even sort of heavy metal and hard rock, you could do a lot worse than getting this record. Ruts, the Crack. What a shame they didn't do much more after that. Tragically lost the lead singer, Malcolm Owen. And yeah, I know they can't continue as the Ruts DC, which I'll probably need to check out at some point. But yeah, a band with so much promise was just, they were just cut so short in their prime. What a shame. But yeah, I love this. Absolutely fantastic record. I couldn't recommend it enough. Brilliant stuff. And the final one. Okay, this is nothing obscure at all, but I feel the need to talk about it. Dex Midnight Runners, 2 Right A. Quick question, because I've had difficulty finding the answer to this. Anyone know why it's credited, this particular record, to Kevin Rowland and Dexys? Is it anything to do with the fact that he kind of split the original band up and reformed? Must have something to do with that. Let me know in the comments if you know the definitive answer to that one. I've always been a bit curious. Anyway, this record sporting a huge monster UK single, Come On Eileen, played to death. Obviously, we all know it. Go to any wedding reception here in the UK, and you will hear it. It's that popular, and it's still played a lot on the radio. Another minor hit on there, the one about the darts player, Jockey Wilson said, that rosy darts player from the 80s. Remember him? Jockey Wilson said, "I'm in heaven when you smile." Sorry, laughing at my own jokes here. So, wanted to talk about this because I obtained this record about a decade ago. I went to a car boot sale with my wife in a place in Sussex called Ford. I don't know if the car boot runs anymore, but we kind of don't go to it anymore. But at this sale, I picked up a bundle of about 10 records, and they only wanted £5 for them. There were a few Moody Blues, which I played and kept. And one or two others. There was a Spare Queen, A Night at the Opera. I remember I kind of palmed that. That was kind of palmed off. I've already got one. And one or two others which I didn't keep. But this was in there. And at the time, 10 years ago, I didn't dislike Dexys. I just wasn't interested in them. I just wasn't interested at all. I just had no desire to play it. But at the same time, I had no desire to give it away or get rid of it. It's a very, very nice copy. You need a good clean up, but the record was unplayed. So it sat in my spare room, a box in my spare room for 10 years unplayed. And something just compelled me to play it. And I think actually it's probably from watching other YouTubers over the last few years, probably sort of, watching videos leading up to me doing my own channel here. And many people, I say a good few people, showed this. and just said how good it was, and I'm like, oh, I want to check it out. And of course it's absolutely wonderful, and it just kind of left me thinking, well, I could have been playing and enjoying this record for a good decade, yet I only started listening to it about this time last year, and I got straight into it. It's absolutely wonderful. I mean, I don't think I need to sort of go into what it sounds like. I mean, Dexies have such a... They are so distinctive, yet I was listening to it and I'm like, I can't really pinpoint how I describe this music, to be honest with you. Is it folk, new wave? It's just so distinctive, and it's just it's to the point where I was kind of listening. I was listening to the deep cuts that weren't released on a single, and if you just showed any of these tracks that weren't the singles to anyone and said, who is it? They just know they would just know who it was. It would just be Dexies. They just get it in one. It's they don't sound like anyone else. It's just so distinctive. But what can I say? Wonderful album, and one that a whole decade of my life has not been part of my life. And it's funny, isn't it? It's funny how these things go. Really, when it comes to music, it's just. Would it have been the right time? Would I have enjoyed it 10 years ago? Tastes change, tastes develop, they expand. But yeah, I started listening to it. I don't know, maybe it was the right time to start doing it. But the fact is, it's here to stay now. I love this album. I really need to get their debut, Searching for the Young Soul Rebels. I've got the follow-up, Don't Stand Me Down. I don't really know what to make of that. I think I need to stick with it a little bit more. It's certainly not as good as this one. Yeah. Just a little story to tell, really. I don't really know what more I can say about it, apart from listen to people. Don't write things off. I'm glad I didn't write it off. I kept it. At the end of the day, I didn't dislike Dexies. I just felt there was a time in the future to play it. What more can I say? Anyway, that's about it for weekend listening. I guess I've got to say a word about the new Beatles tune now and then. Just a quick word. My review. Look at my face and look at my hand. That's all I'm going to say about it. It's alright. If it makes people happy, then I'm happy. The hype surrounding it is beyond belief, but there we go. That's all I'm going to say on the matter. Wouldn't be a YouTube video if I didn't mention now and then, now would it? Anyway, that's all from me. If you like what you see, hit the thumbs up, hit the like, hit the bell. Please subscribe, yeah. And please feel free to comment. I always love hearing from you. I'll always try and respond. So yeah, if you've got anything to chip in, recommend, add, then I would really love to hear from you. So plenty more videos to come. So until the next time, take care. Thank you very much for watching.